I used to think I had to have my own way, to do everything on my own, living my life like a one-man play, feeling confused and low. I held on tight to the life that I knew, till it wasn't the life I remembered. Finally admitting I hadn't a clue, open my arms and surrender. And I made room for grace. I just stepped aside, opened up the space. Now the blessings arrive every day, since I made room for grace. I want to live without making demands, asking for help when I need it, being happy just doing the best I can. When I stumble, I won't be defeated, since I made room for grace. Just stepped aside, opened up the space. Now the blessings arrive every day, since I made room for grace.
I made room for grace. Opened up space.
If I had insisted on all that I wanted, I'd see I'd have sold myself short. Like when I stopped resisting, I got what I needed and so much more, since I made room for grace. Just stepped aside, opened up the space. Now the blessings arrive, since I made room for grace. Just stepped aside, opened up the space. Now the blessings arrive every day, since I made room for grace. Since I made room for grace.
Thank you, Kevin. Please join me in an opening prayer as we get centered, becoming more aware of the presence. I invite you to focus on your heart. Allow your breath to get a little slower and deeper as you picture your breath moving in and out of the heart, finding an easy, comfortable rhythm with inhales and exhales equal in length. And let your heart fill up with gratitude for this beautiful, sunshiny, non-humid Sunday morning. And as we become more fully aware of that presence within us and all around us, we open our hearts a little bit more. We feel safe enough to open the heart a little wider and let it open a little deeper as we prepare to celebrate our service together, trusting that we are right where we're supposed to be, whether we're present here, watching online right now, or watching in this now moment in the future. We can relax. Feel the power of our connection with source energy, and recognizing the source energy within ourselves and within each other. We bless this day, we bless this lesson, we bless Unity of Buffalo and the surrounding Unity community. We know all is in divine order for all our prayers, all our upcoming events for this week, our yard sale. We give thanks for celebrating the life of our beautiful friend Steve Thorne yesterday. We bless his family and hold Steve's family and friends close in our hearts. And we fill up. We're getting ready to fill up with today's lesson. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you, God. So let us affirm together our unity invocation. There is only one presence and one power, living as the universe and as me, God the good, omnipotent. And now it's time for our unity blessing. We hold this vision in our mind's eye. It hasn't come about yet, but we're holding it right here in our third eye, the power of intuition, the power of vision. Together, a world of love, peace, and abundance for all. We're going to see that vision fulfilled by practicing our mission. Together, our mission is practicing the presence of God through prayer, education, service, creativity, and community. And the way we practice our mission is by exemplifying our core values, which are loving, spiritually centered, inclusive, respectful, and compassionate. Part of living our values is appreciating the wondrous diversity in our world and being intentionally welcoming and inclusive. With that in mind, we celebrate Pride Month and wish it was every month, making our world more loving, inclusive, and respectful. And we've also put out some free Unity booklets on the table outside our office, which Reverend Mary is holding up. They're titled Worthy, and this is a collection of LGBTQ stories about overcoming rejection and religion to find truth. Please feel free to take one for yourself and share one with a friend if you would like to. So now it's time to bless our happy birthday friends born in June. If you were born in June, Bob, come on up. Come on up, Bob. And Kathy, you're both born in June. Come on. Don't be shy, Phyllis. Clem. Don, is Don coming up? Is Don a birthday? I don't have Don listed up there. All right, Kevin, can we impose on you to lead us in happy birthday? And we'll do two verses, okay? The second verse is, God is blessing you now. God is blessing you now. You are wonderful. God is blessing you now. Okay. Thank you, birthday babies. Okay, thank you, birthday babies, June babies. And now it's time for our daily word. And I think we need a volunteer. Shelia. So our daily word reader today was, Eve was scheduled, and Eve had a family heartache. Her sister-in-law passed suddenly on Friday, so we're holding Eve in our prayers and her family, Vicki and Edward Wackett.
Good morning. Today's word is release. Regular releasing keeps me in the flow of life. I have been changing as long as I've been alive and will continue to evolve as long as I live. I make room for the person I'm becoming through releasing, which is an important part of my spiritual practice. Just as I would not fill my closet with clothes that no longer fit, I do not fill my life with beliefs and ideas that no longer reflect who I am and who I am becoming. Regular releasing creates space in my life for new things to come in. It is my way of remaining open to possibility, of welcoming new opportunities, of keeping myself in the flow of life. Releasing is also a powerful way to live my faith. I trust I am moving in the right direction and release items from my past easily and with gratitude for the role they played in my life. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and put a new and right spirit within me. Psalms 51, verse 10. Would you repeat with me? Regular releasing keeps me in the flow of life. Thank you.
Thank you, Shelia. And speaking of releasing, this weekend we have a great opportunity to release. Actually, you'll have the opportunity to release all week because on Saturday we're having our biannual, I don't know, first time since COVID annual yard sale. So if you'd like to bring items in to donate, we'd really appreciate it if you could price them. That would be wonderful. And you can bring them in Monday between 1 and 5, Tuesday between 12 and 5:30, or Wednesday between 11 and 5:30. And Max will have a meeting for all volunteers after service up here. A little more about that during our announcements. Thank you. So now it's time for me to get to introduce one of my favorite ministers. One of my favorite ministers, just to be clear.
Yeah.
She's not paying
We've
attention.
got another favorite in the room.
One of
Yeah.
my favorite ministers. Okay. Reverend Mary Masters.
Well, thank you, Mary Beth. I sure am in good company. Oh, boy. Wow. Good morning. Take a deep breath, and many of us were here yesterday, and a lot more were here yesterday to celebrate the life of a wonderful, wonderful man, Steve Thorrance. So today, I wanted to talk a little bit about forgiveness. It's a topic that's part of our Discover the Power Within. It's part of what the spirit groups are going to be talking about, but it's a timeless topic, I think. And then Marcia Valutis is offering a workshop next Sunday after church. If we're not all too tired from the yard sale or feeling lightened up from having released the things we're going to let go of, to be able to join us. We'll hear a little more about that. But I wore my little shirt today with a parrot because I wanted to start with a story about a man that owned a parrot. And he had this parrot, and at one point the parrot was just squawk, 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 talking all the time, just constantly squawking. I can't take it anymore. So he grabs the parrot, tosses him into the freezer, closes the door. I'm going to teach that darn bird a lesson. And he notices after a couple minutes, the parrot stops squawking. It's like really quiet. So he opens the freezer door, and out walks the parrot. And the parrot says, I apologize for offending you. I humbly ask your forgiveness. And the man says, oh, okay, well, thank you, I accept. All is forgiven between us, it's all clear. And then the parrot just says, just one more thing though, if you don't mind me asking. What happened to the chicken? What happened? That there was a whole bunch of frozen chicken in the freezer. He said, what happened with the chicken? So I feel like, sometimes things happen in our life, and we forgive or we let it go, we move on. But then there's a part of us that's kind of like that parrot that still is wondering, well, what happened? Why do things happen the way we do? And I'll just share with you a very, we have a dear friend, a beloved member of our family out in New Mexico who is consciously getting ready to pass and preparing for this transition. And I've been talking to him on the phone a bit. And when I talk to him, he keeps asking me, just wondering why. Why is should I turn this off? Okay, how's that? Nice and calm and peaceful. So my friend, asked, gee, there's so much suffering in the world. There's so many people that are living with so little, and why have I been so blessed? I've always had food to eat. I've always had a roof over my head. I've always had clothes and what I needed. And, why? I had a wonderful relationship for 33 years. Why have I been so fortunate? And, I don't know. It's hard to answer that question for someone. But, I'll just have to say, thinking about the service yesterday, and, all of us know people that we've lost over the years, that I'm just going to say this, and this might be, maybe you don't agree with it, but I'm going to say this anyway. I love this phase of life that many of us are in or that are moving into. And I learned another word for it. I was reading a Unity article by Robert Fruman, and he talked about this idea of moving from the idea of aging to eldering. Eldering. Have you heard that concept? And he says it's really a practice that goes back thousands of years. Tribal cultures and people of many countries and societies have always recognized the wisdom of elders and appreciating, that in communities people would turn to the elders for advice and counsel when you had an important decision to make. And that eldering is sort of that perspective, that sees it's this a later time in life when we spend a little more time reflecting on what's the meaning and the purpose and why have things, gone the way they've gone in my life, and making peace with it. But eldering is a developmental stage, just as we have all the developmental stages in our life, an infant and a baby and a child and adolescence and adulthood. And each stage has its own curriculum, and there are challenges and there's opportunities. And I know in this eldering stage, some of us have physical challenges or mental changes to adjust to. But it's also a very rich time of being able to reflect on, to sort of mine the field, to get the lessons and the learning and make peace. And it's a time of looking back and looking forward and looking inward and looking outward at the same time. And so I thought, I love this phase. I love being with people who are at various stages in their eldering phase of development, because it's so rich with wisdom and experience and peace. And I loved yesterday after the service, somebody came up to me and shared, and I love this quote: every soul is born into this world with a story to tell that the world needs to hear. That the world needs to hear that story, that we all have a story about our lives, or a story of many stories, and that we're meant to share that. And so as I came to think about, forgiveness is an essential part of this in order to get to the point where you can really mine the richness that comes from reflection and being in our, some of us in our eldering stage, that we have to also come to terms with forgiveness. And forgiveness is a spiritual practice, an art and a spiritual practice. It's just like all the other things about practicing the presence of God. What do we say? Prayer and education and service and community and reading and study. And just like, we need to release stuff in our lives. We can't just keep bringing more stuff into our house and not taking a few things out, or our clothes, our closet. So we need to release our mental, emotional stuff, our baggage. And so my friend in New Mexico, he said to me last week, he said, from the place where he's standing right now, from the precipice that he's standing on, he really gets it that the most important thing in life is to forgive everyone and everything, and to be able to ask for forgiveness. And he said, dying content that he has lived a fruitful life. Don't die angry, living a fruitful life. And so I thought, wow, what great wisdom. And we don't have to wait till we're at the precipice to do that. We can do it now, whether we're 10 years old, 20 years old, 30, wherever we are, that it's forgiveness that sets us free. It's an essential life principle, and it's a prosperity principle. Edwene Gaines, one of my favorite Unity ministers, who's a prosperity teacher, she wrote a book called The 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. And she defines prosperity as a healthy physical body, relationships that are satisfying, nurturing and satisfying work or vocation that you love so much that it doesn't feel like work, and all the money you can spend. So who doesn't want that? But she says that, to get there, the 4 spiritual laws, one of them is forgiveness, that forgiveness is essential to get there. And she says we need to aspire to forgiveness that is so deep, so full, so complete, that no traces of any bad feeling will remain with us. Wow. No traces of any bad feeling. And she writes that as a survivor of child sexual abuse and other things, so it's not like she hasn't had to walk this path herself. So forgiveness, it's not always easy, but it's possible. And in all situations, is it possible? I think so. So, when we think of it as a practice, what does that mean? It means we got to do it more than once, It's not just an occasional, I did that, now I, don't have to do it again. And that, it takes some time. And sometimes it's messy, and we don't always do it perfectly. And it helps to have supportive friends and community and teachers. And we know that the results are cumulative. Each time when you let go of each little thing and a little thing and a little thing, it gets easier. Myrtle Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, said, "Forgiveness is the art of putting something else in place of the thing that needs forgiving, the thing to be forgiven." And I thought, well, what is that something else? Well, it's spiritual truth. It's a positive realization of the truth of our being. It's love. It's oneness. Eric Butterworth said the forgiveness of sin has always been a central factor in almost every religion. And of course Jesus taught about it. But we have to understand what we mean by sin. I feel like sin is one of those words that's got a lot of baggage to it, that we've often heard it used in ways that aren't really helpful to us. And I love the way Unity understands sin, as it comes from a Greek term that actually was an archery term, and it means missing the target. When you shoot an arrow at a target and you miss it, well, you missed the mark, So, and that's what sin is, missing the mark, misunderstanding spiritual truth. And the biggest thing that we miss the mark about is the idea of thinking somehow we're separate from God, that there's sense of separation, that sin occurs when we're out of harmony with the source of our being. He wrote that, Eric Butterworth said, the finite is indissolubly linked with the infinite. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that word right. But the finite is just us in our human expression, that we look like somehow we're separate and we're limited in some way. But God is the infinite, the ocean in which we're never separate. We're always, can a fish ever not be part of the ocean? Yeah. And so sin is when we forget that we are a spiritual being that is always connected. And I love that, Eric says that God doesn't forgive. I think, well, how does God forgive us? And he says, well, God doesn't forgive because God isn't a being in the sky sitting up there judging, oh, okay, I'm going to forgive this person and maybe not forgive that person or something. No, God just teaches us, calls us to remember the truth of who we are, to remember to turn to our oneness, that it's, like the story of the prodigal son, is we are the son, we are the father, we are the other brother, we're the whole story. And that when we can remember to, Jesus said, turn the other cheek. He wasn't saying, okay, go ahead, hit me now on this side, you just hit me. No, he was saying, turn and look at it from a different perspective. Look at it through your spiritual eyes rather than your human eyes. And know that, that when we're out in the far country, when we've gone away from what is spiritual truth, that somehow something sometimes within us just calls us back to remember, oh, I've kind of gone astray here. I've forgotten there's some spiritual understanding. And when I can remember and turn to come back home, to come to the Father, which is the divine presence within us, that suddenly it opens up this flood of love and peace and release from within us. So it's kind of like, how do we do this, though, on a really practical level? And I've always loved this we had studied several years ago a book called Seven Whispers, how God speaks to us. And one of the whispers is to remember to move at the pace of your own guidance. That sometimes, it's just really easy to call up someone or have a conversation and clear up a misunderstanding. Sometimes we can write a note or a letter, or sometimes we can pray and just release it, or do a little burning bowl ceremony and write down what we want to release. And then other times it takes more, or we're not quite ready yet. And we have to just trust the pace of our own guidance. I always like Brene Brown says, share your stories with those who have earned the right to hear your story. Places where you feel safe, where you won't be judged, where you can, just kind of, in 12-step programs, when you make your list to make amends with people and you share it with a sponsor, it's because it's somebody that you feel safe that, okay, I'm not going to be judged or made wrong. And then when we trust the pace of our guidance, and sometimes we just need to pray to be willing, or to be willing to be willing to be willing to take the first step, to have that willingness. But I always love the story I heard about a gentleman who was sitting in the Greyhound bus terminal in San Francisco, and he was an elderly migrant farm worker, and he was sitting there and he had this little orange, or maybe it was a big orange on his lap. And maybe that was what was left from his little brown bag lunch. But he noticed that there was a toddler sitting in a little stroller with his mother, staring at this orange. That the toddler was just kind of fascinated by this orange, and he kept looking and noticing the child looking at the orange. And so finally he got up and asked the mother if he could have permission to give the orange to the child. And she said, sure, that would be fine. But before he handed the child the orange, he cradled it in both of his hands, and he kissed the orange. He gave it a little blessing. And then he handed it to the toddler, and he went back to his seat. And the child was, of course, really delighted, but someone noticed what he did. He said, oh, why did you do that? And he just said, I was really... the person said, I was touched by the fact that you kissed the orange before you gave it to the child. And the man said, I've lived 65 years, and if there's one thing I've learned, is that you can never give anything to someone unless you can really give it from your heart. And his act of kissing or putting a little blessing on that orange was a way of saying, I'm really giving this to you from my heart. And maybe that's how forgiveness is it's a gift to ourselves, and it's a gift to the others that we extend forgiveness to. And we need to maybe just imagine it like a little light ball, a little energy ball in our hands, and blow on it or give it a blessing, and then extend it. I always remembered this idea is, whether a person is alive or dead, or whether you have contact with them or you never see them again, you can still extend a gift to them. You can still put it out energetically. And at some soul level, they'll receive it, or if they're open to, they'll take it into their heart. So Jesus talked about forgiving 7, or someone asked him, how many times do I have to do this, and is it 7 times? And, we know Jesus' answer was 7 times 70. 7 times 70, wow, that's a lot of times. But, really, I think what he meant is that it needs to be perpetual. It needs to be ongoing. It needs to be all the time. It needs to be part of our regular practice. I love that Eric Butterworth said in the book somewhere about that forgiveness is like a mental bath. It's, where is it? He said, and I thought, well, some of us do forest bathing, but we can think of forgiveness as spiritual bathing as well, kind of bathing our soul. And and doing it that way. But the seven is a really important spiritual number. Metaphysically, we think all the numbers in the Bible represent important things. And 7 is a number of completion, 7 days in the week, and spiritual completion. So each one of those 7, each can represent different layers of forgiveness. I think the first layer is just sort of what I'd call the presenting situation. Whatever it is that's come up that we think we're upset about in our story, something that somebody cut me off in traffic, somebody said something that was unkind, or, and so we've got that. We got our reason right now that we're, that we are being called to forgive. And the Course in Miracles tells us I'm never upset for the reason I think. So stuff happens, but that's not the whole picture. And then layer 2 could be all the times when we think, all the times when it seems as though something similar to that present moment situation has happened to us. That we get triggered by things because there's something else, some other time perhaps, when we experience some trauma or hurt or woundedness. I remember I had a friend who said, he used to talk about how his dad was a rageaholic, And so sometimes when he'd be around somebody who was really intense or would get angry, boy, that really triggered him because of the old trauma from his father. And then the third layer could be our perception of how the world works. That's what needs to be healed. Thinking somehow we're a victim or other people are out to hurt us or do harm to us. And then maybe the fourth layer is healing that part within us that's like the outer thing. That, when we're upset about something somebody has done, maybe it's because we've done something like that ourselves. There was a time when I was unkind or cut somebody off or didn't respond in the most loving way. And, and then just forgiving ourselves for all the times we've fallen short. And then forgiving God for allowing this to happen. If the universe is a gracious universe or God is loving, then why do things happen? And then just having clarity about our meaning of forgiveness. Forgiveness doesn't mean we have to put up with unacceptable behavior or that we can't have healthy boundaries. It just means that it's an opportunity for healing. And it's about, I think, separating the person from the behavior. People aren't good or bad or right or wrong, but sometimes people make poor choices or act from places of their own hurt. So forgiveness, really, most of all, it's about getting to the point where we can release the emotional charge, so that really it's, we can really say, I don't know, I think Lillian Matthews said this, that there's nothing between us, to be able to say, nothing between us except peace and love, or peace and understanding. And I think that really, I was talking with Marcia about this, that I don't think we do this forgiveness work just for ourselves, that it has a multi-generational effect, that when we heal in our own lives, we heal our ancestral line, that we're healing for our ancestors, those who have gone before us, helping, everybody, our parents, our grandparents. There's always been times where people have experienced hurt and pain and woundedness in some ways. So as we heal ourselves, as we heal our ancestors, as we heal for our children and generations to come, we're really healing a part of the world and the world's perception of separation and somehow that we're victims. I know somebody said forgiveness, it may not change the past, although I think maybe it could, but it does enlarge our future in a big-time way. And the most important place to start is just right where you're at, and to start with taking steps and just a willingness. Say, I want to do a little more. I'm ready to regular releasing. I thought, oh man, that sounds like keeps me in the flow of life. That's a very wise statement. So actually, right now, I wanted to just give Marcia a few minutes to share a little bit about her forgiveness workshop that's coming up next Sunday before we have our meditation, so that we'll have the benefit of a little bit more thoughts to reflect upon during our meditation. There you go.
Thank you, Mary. Reverend Mary. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what you've shared today was packed with wonderful wisdom. Next Sunday, for between 2 and 2.5 hours, we're going to take a little bit of a deeper dive into forgiveness, what it is, what it isn't, the what, why, and how. And I think as importantly or more importantly, I'm going to spend some time sharing sort of the science of forgiveness and a scientific and spiritual model for everything, for healing and transformation and creation power, and how forgiveness plays into that. And it will, I think what I'll be able to share that I hope will benefit and provide insight and motivation and tools for those of you who are interested in coming and sharing this experience is that I will share a framework that may tie things together for you in a way that you may not have thought of it before, that will be extensive. And I have the privilege of having worked for the past 12, 13 years closely with Dr. Rulin Shu, a quantum physicist who spent her life trying to come up with a viable grand unification theory of everything. And she gave up pretty much and took up building a business. And then she met my spiritual teacher, Dr. Zhigang Sha, and they got together and they have created a viable grand unification theory. And they have founded something they call Tao Science. And it turns out, and they have 25 or more scientific publications in peer-reviewed journals, and they continue to progress along this line. And some of the problems in quantum physics that haven't been solved, their theory provides a solution for. It's slow to build the momentum, but believe me, it will hit. And the interesting thing is that it brings science and spirituality together, which any viable life theory should. But I'll be presenting this model in very simple terms, which is all I can do. I don't have the mind of a physicist. But basically, you know, I'm going to be presenting the law of Shen Qi Jing, that we are all, everyone and everything are made of information, energy, and matter. And the information can be broken down into 3 layers: soul, heart, mind. The soul is the content of that information. It's the blueprint. And everyone and everything have this blueprint. Consciousness, soul, the chair you're sitting in, everything is made of the same thing, has the same structure. And so the content is the soul, the heart is the receiver and detector of the information, the mind is the processor of the information. The energy and matter that we sort of view as the body carries the information, manifests the information. And we live in a soup of fields that are expressed through information, energy, matter that represent a frequency and a vibration. And even your own being is a soul system of many fields. Your liver has a different blueprint than your heart. Every cell has the Shen Qi Jing. And our homes, our communities, our cars, our everything. And so the field that you're in and the fields that you engage with are pertinent to the kind of upliftment of your Shenqijing. And healing and transformation, the most direct route is to go to the soul and change the information. And forgiveness is a huge component with how we can quickly do that. And that relates also to another quantum physics concept of quantum entanglement. And it's basically, you know, we all have come from the same place originally. We are all somehow connected, and then we're more and less connected with certain other souls. And that includes Mother Earth and other planets. It includes the area that you're living in. It includes everyone and everything. And to, to heal and to uplift your life, to live a happy, successful life, we need to the information can be positive and negative, right? The Shenqijing, the energy and matter can be positive and negative. We want to be positively quantumly entangled with our life, our community, our family, everything we do. And we want to be able to transform those negative quantum entanglements. And the other thing is soul growth and power comes from, the bigger your soul, the better. And the bigger your soul is, the more quantum entanglement, positive quantum entanglement you have. So when you do prayers for world peace, and when you do the Tonglen, and you do these other practices, you're expanding your positive field in quantum entanglement. But when you have a challenge in your life, it doesn't matter what it is. It can be health, relationship, finances, neighbors, whatever it is. It's a negative quantum entanglement. And you can work at the soul level to resolve those, or to take a huge chunk of the blockage away so that you can resolve it on the plane we're living in. And so I'm going to be giving you this model, and also going to be introducing a powerful high-frequency field that is a reliable, positive information, high-frequency field that you can tap into, because it turns out that healing and transformation, it's about the more you're in a positive, high-frequency vibration field, the more opportunity you have to easily release that which isn't at that level. And we can do that on our own. We can spend, I'm sorry.
That's okay, yeah.
So anyway, there'll be that. And I'll be teaching some techniques, and we'll be having 2 or 3 experiences. So with that, so thank you. I'm sorry, I got carried away.
No, that's good. I just wanted, yeah, thank you. So here's your glasses. So next Sunday, 12:30 till about 2:15, and we're inviting you all to think about whether this is something that resonates with you. But I know I'm going to be there. I think it's an opportunity to really bring a fresh look and another way to work on forgiveness. So now we're ready to move into our time of meditation. Kevin is going to lead us in with the song Grace. And this is the one song that we invite you to hold your applause until after he sings the second song. That way we can move directly into the meditation in a smooth flow. And so thank you, Kevin.
Finally I rest, no more guessing where I'm going. Finally I trust that the wind knows where it's blowing. You created heaven and earth long before my birth. The entire universe keeps turning. You hold every child in your arms, like the sky full of stars, and they know who you are. I'm learning grace. I can feel feel it moving through my soul, promising you'll never let me go. Finally I see every moment has its reason, simply meant to be, like the turning of the season. You created all with your hand. I need not understand the invisible plan you're writing everywhere. Such infinite love, so much more than enough. It keeps lifting me up. I'm rising. Grace, I can feel it. Grace, I can feel it moving through my soul, promising you'll never let me go. Oh, oh, grace, 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 grace.
So thank you, Kevin. And so we gently close our eyes if you'd like, or just hold a soft gaze for the world in front of you. And grace is the gift that helps us to let go and release that which no longer serves us. That we are grateful for all the ways that we have changed and evolved and grown throughout our life. And through the principle of grace, it's easier to just let go of anything that is any little trace of incompletion or hurt. And through the power of our breath, through inhale and exhale, extending our breath in equal lengths of inhale and exhale, we find a perfect balance. Balance of breathing in love and light, peace and understanding. And releasing sadness or regret, judgment or concern. For we know that regular releasing creates space in our lives for new things to come in. And so we'll rest a moment in the silence. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and and put a new and right spirit within me. I trust that I'm moving in the right direction, releasing the past and opening my arms to receive the blessings that are coming to me now. Thank you, God. Amen. And Kevin's going to sing one more song, I Am Love.
Free to make the choice of love. Free to be the voice of love. I am peace. I am peace.
And so in the energy of this love, this I am love, I want to invite Harriet to come forward as our prayer chaplain for today. Maybe she forgot she was on duty, taking things a little out of order. But we want to bless the prayer requests on our heart and in the prayer box, and especially include today Eve Wackett's family with her sister-in-law having passed unexpectedly, and her brother Edward and Vicki.
Let's take a moment, take a few deep cleansing breaths, breathing in God's light and God's love, and exhaling any fears or concerns or anything that could keep you from the here and the now. Now center yourself in your heart center and allow these words to be words coming from deep within your heart. Father, Mother God, I am so grateful for your presence in my life and the lives of everyone I hold dear in my heart. I know that I am never, ever truly alone. I realize that I am a child of yours, worthy of all good. You guide me to peace. You guide me to safety. Guide me to good health. And you guide me to love. I know, God, that you are with each and every one of my loved ones, taking care of them and guiding them to their highest good. And I know with you all things are possible. Thank you, God. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Mary, for that lesson. It brought a new understanding at a deeper level of the importance of releasing on a regular basis. And it is the full moon. We're in the full moon energies. It was just before midnight. The full moon is the perfect time for releasing and for forgiving. And thank you, Marcia. I am so intrigued. I can't wait to hear I love thinking about the soul as the content and the heart as the receiver, the mind as the processor, and then the body as the deliverer, the manifester. So it sounds like a really clear, simple process to understand. So thank you for that. Thank you. And thank you, Kevin, for your beautiful keeping us in that energy. And thank you for all of you for staying in that energy. So now it's time to welcome anyone who's here for the first time on a Sunday morning. If you are new, would you like to raise your hand? Oh, welcome. We're happy to have you here. Would you like to just tell us your first names? I'm Shanti. Shanti and Ryan. May we give you our unity blessing as a welcome? We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. And we behold the Christ in you. And we have a little gift for you. And if you'd like to fill that out, we'll get you on our mailing list. And now it's time to practice one of our spiritual practices, generosity. Our love offering time is an opportunity to contribute to our vision and our mission for our ministry. And there are 3 ways you can support Unity of Buffalo. You can give today when you're here in person. You can give online through our website using the Donate Now button, or you can mail a check in. And also, if you would like to pay with a credit card, you can see Christy after the service, and she will process happily your contribution. Thank you. So let us take some time to consider how you would like to practice thoughtful, generous giving from a grateful heart. And as we prepare our gifts to share, as Reverend Mary said, we just bless them and we give from the heart. So let us bless the gifts that we provide to Unity of Buffalo by affirming the following affirmation together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Freely I give, and freely I receive. Thank you, God.
What do I want? What do I desire? What will bring me to my highest good? What do I want? What do I desire? What will bring me to my highest good? Prosperity, prosperity, I claim it, I claim it. Abundance, abundance is mine, is mine. Love, love flows through me, flows through me. I feel joy, all the time, all the time. I can have it, I can have it. I deserve it, I deserve it. I claim it, I claim it. It is mine, it is mine. I can have it, I can have it. I deserve it, I deserve it. I am it, I am it. It is mine.
All right, let's bless these gifts together. We bless these gifts. We see them present. One of those, and read the email blast. But our big coming week is the yard sale. So things right after the service, get this space ready. The yard sale will actually be on the here. So to help us get ready for that, we'd like to push to the sides. Also, if you can Max is having a volunteers meeting where work in 2-hour shifts. She'll go over that. The other, when can you bring your items in to donate? Reverend Mary will be here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And are we going to post the time someplace? But the times are Monday, Tuesday, 12 to 5:30, Wednesday, and they should just ring the front doorbell. Okay.
Park and pull your car off to the side.
Yeah. Have the stuff as much as possible, keeping the stuff in here because it's are sold in here. The things we're looking for are kitchen items, plates and mugs, home decor, not Christmas. Okay. Jewelry's a big seller. Linen, tablecloths, napkins, washed and not stained or ripped. So things that you would be willing to buy, not things that you're, oh, should I throw this out or give it to Unity? So please make sure that the small appliance, electronics, please make sure they're working. And like I said, Max, meeting with Max. Max, yes, what would you? I just wanted everyone who doesn't know who I am. Oh, this is Max, the beautiful lady in the turquoise. She will be here, and she is our Team Max, Team Yard Sale coordinator. So let's give Max a blessing, because this is a big undertaking, right? Yeah, let's bless Max. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. All right, thank you. So that's it for our service. We're going to have potluck downstairs. There's always more than enough to share and spare, so even if you didn't bring something, please join us downstairs. And we're ready for our closing song. If you'd like to get in a circle. I'm going to leave this right out.
without having it written down.
Our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God